This former Apollo 14 astronaut, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, was on a radio show over in England, and he says that for 6 decades the government's been covering up the fact that aliens do exist. Guess who's joining us on the phone? Dr. Mitchell, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Dr. Mitchell, you've walked on the moon, you've done so much, we've had a fantastic career. How long have you known that we've had contact with aliens?
Or I've known for 60 years. But, however, as a result of my astronaut experience, some of the old-time, I call them the old-timers, who were hushed up, they wanted to pass on their story before they passed on. So I was contacted, and I was told their stories many years ago.
Okay, Edgar, who are the people who told you there were aliens, and how would they know?
I'm not going to give names. Some of the people were just locals involved in the so-called Roswell crash when that happened, and also my folks were ranchers in that area, and we knew all the ranch people at that point throughout their life.
Because Dr. Mitchell, that was my whole point when we discussed this earlier today, was what kind of secrecy document would you have to sign if you were given this type of privileged information?
In those days there wasn't a document.
Yeah.
They were threatened. I mean, there was real threat. You're not going to talk about this.
Like, for example, when you talk to these people who wanted their stories to live on because they won't.
It was just to confirm that the Roswell incident did take place, and it wasn't, the government knew it was an alien spacecraft.
Now, it was about 10 years ago, you had a press conference where you laid all these facts bare. You talked about this in public.
I actually went to the Pentagon and was talked to intelligence officer at the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know about this, but I'm going to find out.
All right.
And he eventually called me back and said, you're right, but he couldn't get in and get access to it.
What's that guy's name?
No, I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, I mean, because look, Edgar, a lot of people are listening to this and they're thinking, well,
I don't care what they think. You want my story? I'm telling you.
No, we understand, but some people think that it's
so let me ask you this,
credible.
Dr. Mitchell. Do you think that other people now will come to the forefront since this is being discussed again, since you're bringing this?
I think it's about to, because there's been a lot of very serious and good investigators working this problem for 50 years or more.
I mean, you realize this is the story of the century, if it's true.
Well, the fact that we have not alone in the universe, that's a very important story.
I mean, that's better than a little bit of water on Mars.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, it beats water on Mars, and the fact that these little creatures are nice and smarter than us is bigger news. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, we thank you very much for joining us on the phone to try to straighten things out, and we thank you for getting up early this morning down there in Florida.